Pears had a small shop in the front room of number 24. There were two main shops. Goodison's was at one end of the street and Brown's at the other. Brown's had a shop and pub and was the first one open there. For some reason, Goodison's was seen as the shop for the ordinary people, while Brown's was a bit more upper class. Not that this was exclusive or overt, but just the impression, at least of the young people on the street. Goodison's was a shop that always seemed to be expanding. He added petrol pumps, he extended into the garage area, and he eventually was to build a pub there. Sometimes the local people got odd jobs from Willie. They might be tidying up the garage, burning rubbish out the back or over in the knock. Some were even allowed to serve petrol and deliver groceries. Another thing about Goodison's was that they had perhaps the first German Shepherd or Alsatian on the road. Rusty or Rinty was the name, I can't remember which. Like so many local shops of the time, Willie often gave the local people loans of money to tide them over to payday. This was in addition to allowing them to get things on the book, buy now, pay later. Unrelated to the shop, Goodison's were the first with television in their house, at least for our group. They even had it before RTE or Telefish Éireann was established. I remember a huge crowd of young people crowding into their sitting room. We called it the kitchen as opposed to the back kitchen where the food was prepared. The occasion was a boxing match, probably Cassius Clay versus Sonny Liston. I also recall seeing a BBC play called Anthony Adverse there. At the top of the road, Brown's was a different matter, and by coincidence this was the first place that I had employment, in the shop and pub back I won't tell you when. My main memories are of slicing meat on a whirring electric slicer, stacking the pub shelves, and working with Sean Flynn, and I think the other girl who was there was Miriam Donoghue. Other shops that would have been in Wexford around that time, or businesses, were Hodnett's Accountants in Selsker Street. John English Printers were in business on Custom House Quay. Cousins were bottling minerals at the Old Pound, and Chris Hopkins had a car hire at Bishopswater. James Kerwin of Corish Park was a cattle dealer, and there was lovely sweets to be had at Shoodle's on the main street just at the bottom of Gibson's Lane. Willie Parle was the undertaker par excellence at Waterloo Road. La Tulipe was the local French-style hairdresser. Caltex at Redmond Place were selling petrol products, and the Shamrock Bar was open in Ann Street. The Welcome Inn was on Crescent Quay, and Love's Cafe at North Main Street, with the Ritz Cafe in the Bullring. The Specialist Travel Agent was at the Crescent, and Frank Cullimer